Time and time again in the history of Israel, you will read that there were kings who heard the desires of the people and did what the people demanded rather than the will of God. You will hear this same thing today if you look and listen to politicians pandering to the public. Politicians who say one thing this moment and another thing a few moments later. Some of them appear to be very good men, yet they change their ideas and thoughts with every passing wind. You have other politicians who make grievous mistakes, but they do what they truly believe. And these politicians are like David. King David committed murder, as did Moses. King David deceived and did many evil things. But King David was known as a man after God's own heart. Despite all of the flaws, despite all of the character problems that he had, he was still known as a man after God's own heart. But he did not claim perfection, and he surely wasn't perfect. Other kings may have been wiser. They may have been stronger. They may have been more capable as rulers. But King David was the king who was able to lead his people in the way of God. Now understand this. We tell you this now because here in the United States, what do you have at the moment? You have a political contest between ideologies, far left and far right, and they fight each other. But you have men representing these as they run for president. One who has committed grievous errors. Yes, he has committed grievous errors, but he has held his position and sought to do that which he believed to be right. The other has sought to please people, and being wealthy, has thought that buying the presidency would put the final ornament upon the wrist of the family. Now, we tell you, whoever takes office will surely have the weight of that office thrust upon them. But we tell you that the grievous personal attacks that occur, and in a political environment that allows collection of money in your society by both Democrats and Republicans, so that it appears that whoever can amass the greater fortune will be able to buy an office, goes against everything that your people would claim to stand for. But this is the American way. Capitalism allows you to buy your way to the top. This was never the intention of those who founded your country, who created an elected official as a president, an executive branch with far more powers than a monarchy. They overthrew the monarchy to elect an official with more executive power than a king or queen could exercise. There is some great irony in that, but the greater irony is that these individuals elected are from your people, are of your people, and supposedly for your people. And the truth of the matter is, you elect them. Thus they reflect your consciousness, your desires, and the divisions, the fighting, the bickering in your frozen and almost helpless and useless Congress, which is made up of some very good men, reflects the very essence of the society in which you live, which is likewise divided, hopelessly, frozen in its ideologies, and unfocused. Because there is never the ability to see an ideology of any kind mature in your society, because you are continually ousting and re-electing individuals. Yet in the monarchy, where you have members of parliament and prime ministers elected, in monarchies you have a king or a queen that is stable year after year, decade after decade. So while all of these changes are taking place, there is an anchor that allows for a certain development of maturity that can never occur in a pure democracy. It is such an irony. Yet you would say democracy is the best of ways, and try to plant your democracy throughout all of the world. But understand that the original democracy that seeded other democracies, as we have told you before, was the Benedictine rule. And from that democratic rule, all other democracies developed throughout Europe. But there was a thread of stability in the essence of the Benedictine democracy, because it had a stability based on an continued faith that was practiced, and a continued tradition that was practiced, and a continued ritual that was practiced, and a continued understanding that was practiced century after century after century, with no variance. As it matured and developed. In the United States, you would like to claim that your Constitution is that stable essence, and it is as close as you're going to come. But until the leaders themselves stop squabbling and fighting and representing financial interest, they will never be able to live to the fullness of that foundational document. And the only way the leaders will be able to find the full essence of that foundational document is if they find the inner peace within. That comes only through prayer and meditation. Why do we tell you this? We tell you this because too many people want to sever all of religion and divinity from that which is political. But an individual's religion cannot be severed from their being simply because they are political. A politician cannot say, I do church on Sundays. That's the same thing as saying, I go to church on Sunday. It does not matter if I beat my wife on Monday and kick the dog on Tuesday. And this is exactly what your politicians are doing when they say, we keep our religion out of our politics. That is to say, we do not apply our moral standards beyond the one day we worship. The one day we know God, we have moral standards. The rest of the time we work according to the polls or political expediency. You want to see a country fall fast? That is the way to see a country fall. You really, really want your politicians to have no morals or scruples except on the day they worship? That is foolish indeed. So will we tell you, you should vote for this man, you should vote for that man? We tell you, you should follow your conscience, but you should be praying and meditating so your conscience is developing rather than being seared. For a seared conscience is the beginning of the end. We leave you with blessings and with peace.